In the fall, I facilitated a nature-based math workshop at NACY's annual conference. And during one of our, breakout sessions, so time for participants to do some activities, practice on their own, I was circulating around the room, and one of the participants said, "This is fabulous. I wish we had access to nature in my program and I could do all of these things." And, so I had a question really, you don't have any access to nature. What does your outdoor space look like? Do you have an outdoor space? And she said, "Oh, yeah, we have an outdoor space, but really it's so small. And most of it is just concrete." So, do you have nature based preschool FOMO? Are you thinking, yeah, nature based preschool is fabulous and I wish I could do it? But, maybe your program is in an urban area, or maybe you have a very tiny outdoor play yard, or maybe you're thinking you just have an open field and there's not enough plant and animal variety. Or maybe your outdoor area is covered in concrete or dirt or sand. Hello, my name is Nicole Trevillis-Fravel, and this is Wildwood Teaching. And for the past 15 years, I have been teaching my nature-based program in a space where I am lucky enough to have a very large outdoor yard backed up by a very large forest. But my experience has taught me over the years that emergent nature-based learning really isn't about the space, it's a philosophy. Right? The principles can be applied to any setting, and all settings do indeed have access to nature. So today, I am going to tackle 3 myths about what nature is and what it means to connect children to it. And then I'll follow up with some quick tips on how you can maximize the nature you do have access to. Because everyone has access to nature. And the key to finding it lies in challenging some traditional notions about what nature is and what constitutes nature education. So, we're going to re-examine some myths. Myth number 1, nature has to be something grand and other and awe-inspiring. So, Lucy Sprague Mitchell, who was the founder of Bank Street College of Education, said, "It is only the blind eye of the adult that finds the familiar uninteresting. Children do not need nature to be grand. They find the small things awe-inspiring." So just this past week, in 1 week, my children, my preschoolers have come up to me and have said, "Nicole, Nicole, Nicole, there's a ladybug. Come see, come see. There's a ladybug." And not only did I come see, but all of the other children gathered around to watch the ladybug. Also this week, "Nicole, Nicole, Nicole, come see, come see, come see. There's a snail. And look, it's out of its shell. And it is crawling on the leaf. What do you think it's doing?" And again, some of the children came over and watched it for a little bit, walked away, went to play, came back, check and see if the snail was still there. I had a group of very active boys stop what they were doing for a good 20, 25 minutes to watch a slug. And notice it has 2 sets of antennae. What are they used for? To ask me all sorts of questions about a slug as they watched it move very slowly, try to feed it, right? They do not need a whole variety of wildlife. Children love watching bugs. They love the weeds. So what small things, right, might be within your preschool environment that the children might find interesting? Myth number two, the natural environment is fixed, right? And anything we can do to it diminishes its naturalness. So again, I'm going to call on another expert. So David Fisher is a forest educator in the UK, and he is a trainer. So he travels all around the United Kingdom, Asia, the Middle East, training educators in forest school principles. And he recommends thinking about what you can bring into your environment or what you can grow or how you can enhance what's already there. Something does not have to already be there in your environment for you to expose children to nature. You could have a small garden plot. You could bring in indoor plants. You could bring in fossils, bones, shells collected from the beach. All of these are natural items that the children can explore. As I mentioned last week when we talked about sourcing natural materials, you may even want to involve the children in planning, right? Both long-term and short-term changes to the environment, or in collecting this nature that you're going to observe inside. Myth number three, there is a right way to do nature school. If you want your children to learn how to do something new, you encourage them to practice, right? To take baby steps toward a longer term goal, to progress a little bit at a time and to celebrate those little steps. We can give ourselves as teachers that same grace when we're trying something new. Should never let perfection get in the way of getting out in nature. The only wrong way to do nature school is to not do it. So when I started Wildwood Nature School, many of you have heard this story before, I was not a naturalist. I had never even gone camping. I did not know the first thing about teaching outside. But I recognized the gift that our location was giving to our children, to our teachers, and I embraced trial and error. I gradually introduced new routines to our outdoor repertoire, and I gradually increased the amount of time we spent outside until we were all comfortable with it, me as an educator included. Your nature program isn't going to look the same as mine. It's not going to look the same as anybody else's because your environment is different. Your children are different. Your strengths as an educator are different. That's the whole notion of place-based education, right? To embrace all of these differences and harness them for learning. So now that we have tackled these three myths of what nature-based preschool has to be, let's delve a little bit into how you use this information to find out what works for your location. And it starts with taking a strengths-based attitude. So just like I was saying, if you want children to learn something, you allow them to practice a little bit at a time. Also, as educators, right? In early childhood, we are encouraged to take a strengths-based approach rather than a deficit model, right? We look at what works well for each child. We look at what they already know, right? We look at their interests and we find ways to build on what they already have, right? We focus on potential rather than weaknesses and challenges. So, same thing with your natural space. Focus on potential. Focus on what you do have available, and let's take a strengths based approach to defining the nature in our locations. Look at what you have access to. Look at whatever natural phenomena are readily available to you to explore. Look at what you can do to enhance the environment you already have. So, for example, let's return to the preschool. I think she was the director that I spoke to at NACY's conference, right? At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that, who wished she had more nature in her program. So I kept asking questions, right? To understand, tell me more about your location. What do you have? And I found out that they did have a small raised garden bed in the front of the preschool. And I was like, there you go. There's your nature. And she said, no, you don't understand. Like if you saw it, how small it really is. And I immediately said, go up. Use trellises, use tomato cages, make an archway, right? Use the space that you have. And I could tell she had an aha moment, right? Her face lit up. She took notes. Oh, yeah, this I can do. I can go up. So you're going to start by identifying all of the nature you do have access to. And only then you're going to create a plan, right, for enhancing it, for modifying it, for adding to it. Your plan should involve both short-term changes, right? What are you going to do in the short term? And then long term, because growing things isn't going to happen overnight. So you are going to need both of those short and long term ideas. And in fact, our May workshop is going to help you go into the nitty gritty, right? I'm going to help you learn how to identify the nature you already have. We're going to make a map of your space, and I'm going to give you very specific ways that you can encourage nature to flourish in your space, right? And you're going to leave that workshop with a concrete plan for things that you can do in the near term and things that you can do in the long term. So our workshop is going to be on May 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It will be recorded for those of you who cannot attend the workshop. So I encourage you to sign up. There's a little link above my head. There will also be a link attached to the bottom of this video. So please plan to join us for the workshop. Now, you can pay for the workshop individually, or you can join our membership. And with the membership, then the workshop is just free to our members because we do bi-monthly workshops. And then on the opposite months, we have little collaboration roundtable meetings where we problem solve together on whatever our members would like to discuss. So please join us there for our workshop, and then also plan to join us right here next week when I will talk a little bit more about small space gardening. I will see you there.